Hello, Akinator.
Oh great, what do you want?
Whoa, what's with the hostility here?
You do this every single time. You come and chat me up just to embarrass me.
Aw, come on, man. I just want to know if you know what I know.
Well, if I did, you probably wouldn't be bragging about your win streak against me.
Okay. You got me, but come on. You're known for being the best. Sometimes you just need somebody to take you down a peg or two.
Oh, that tears it! Fine, I accept your challenge. Prepare to be defeated.
Okay. But remember, when I play to win. Let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video where I play against the Akinator. It seems every year I do a video against the Akinator, and every year I pull out some obscure memory from the recesses of my brain and just present it to him. And like many of my friends, he doesn't know what I'm talking about, which is a win for me, but also a loss. So in today's installment of Me versus the Akinator, I want to see if the Akinator is aware of Betty Curse. And who is Betty Curse? Well, I'm glad you asked. And if you didn't, this is my video, so what are you doing here? So who is Betty Curse? Well, let me take you back. Let me take you back to a time when role-playing forums were a big trend. A lot of people played characters, and then they'd have actors play as their characters. It was called face claiming. And once upon a time, there was a website called Hollow Art, where you could look up a specific type that you wanted your character to look like, and find a celebrity who closely matched. And that was when I found her, Betty Curse. I didn't know much about her at first, but then I started looking into her and found out she was a musician. But not just any musician, a goth pop musician who basically broke the stereotype in one way or another, caused a little bit of controversy with how she labeled her sound, and all in all, just kind of made a big impression, honestly, I think. One, you have goth people mad that you're claiming you're goth. You have artists being mad at you for claiming your music is goth when it's this poppy sound. All your lyrics are tongue-in-cheek and they kind of poke fun at certain things. This girl's presence was somewhat controversial, and yet I appreciated every minute of it. Even if she wasn't really goth, she pulled off the aesthetic really well, and she has some different opinions about what it means to be goth. There's an interview where she says, society is always exposed to the scripted, stereotypical gothic subculture. The girls are always seen as provocative, and guys are supposed to be swigging pints of snakebite and black and head banging and acting like vampires. It's ridiculous. Of course, you have people who are into the goth thing for the wrong reasons, but a lot of the people into it are the most beautiful souls. Most of them are peaceful enough to understand the romanticism of life. To me, poetry and art are more representative of gothic culture than death and gore. So that's interesting. That's a very interesting thought. She's a very thoughtful person. In fact, one of my Facebook quotes is a quote from her from this exact interview, because she has a very interesting perspective on death. With the death thing, I think the reason I'm so fascinated is because I don't have a clue about what happens beyond the grave. It also takes away the fear of dying when you're fascinated. Death is so beautiful because once you find out what happens, you can't come back to enlighten everyone else and tell them what to expect. She's very interesting. She's just such a unique person. And let's go back to her looks. She sports a very gothic sort of Lolita style, which is my personal favorite. I just love like the ribbons and lace and just like the frills and the attachments to the dress, as well as the color schemes itself. I'm the kind of person who tells people to never be ashamed of their goth phase. In fact, I'm such a fan of the goth aesthetic and, the emo aesthetic. That's probably why I found her in the first place. She says, even in her everyday life, when she's not on stage, she loves to dress up, and she wants to encourage more people to do it, both girls and boys. Her roommates spend hours customizing things before going out. She says her look is to go for something cutesy, but with an edge. I love this interview. It's a very simple interview. It's a singular interview, but it's nice all the same. I really like it. It says an awful lot about her without saying too much. Now, of course, Betty Curse is a pseudonym. She's a stage name. She's a persona. So, who is the person behind Betty Curse? Betty Curse is, in fact, Megan Burns, who was born in 1986. She became an actor in the year 2000, and her acting career has actually gone on till 2018, though there was quite a few years of hiatus in between her last acting career and her most previous one. Betty Curse, as it turns out, is a persona that she took on from the years 2006 to 2011. Hailing from Liverpool, she was signed on to Island Records, had singles such as Excuse All the Blood, God This Hurts, and The Girl with Yellow Hair, and then finally, Do You Mind If I Cry, which is probably one of my favorites of hers. So now that we've kind of got Betty Curse's sort of identity out of the way, we need to sort of find things that define her. Things that the Akinator is going to be asking about. Because usually when I pull up these little esoteric things from my brain and try to put them into the internet website that is the Akinator game and try to get him to guess what I'm thinking, I don't always have an accurate representation of who the character is. There needs to be a couple of things that we need to clarify. I want to find Betty Curse, the persona, and not Megan Burns, who starred in 28 Days Later. Some things to note: she is in fact a real person, but she is a persona of a real person, and her lifespan was from 2006 to 2011. Yet the person portraying the persona is still in fact very much alive today. She even has a Twitter account, and she's gone from being a singer to an artist manager. I'm kind of happy for her. I'm glad that she's actually doing something every day with her life, and she didn't just fade into obscurity. I mean, Betty Curse is still kind of obscure, in my opinion, but we'll find out soon enough. But I'm glad that she's, still doing something. She's pursuing the music area somewhat, maybe not in the realm of singing, but promoting other bands and stuff. I think that's pretty neat. Megan Burns, good job. If you check out her Twitter, she's probably the best human being I have ever seen. She's got some pretty good hot takes, but also she's just pretty good human being all around. I think a lot of my more open-minded friends would actually like her. At any rate, you should probably just check her out. So some other factoids about Betty Curse that we might need to think about. So we need to think about some things that the Akinator might ask about. Aside from her general appearance, he needs to know things about like what she's done and some unusual facts about her. I don't think all of these things are going to be asked about, but at the very least, we're going to have to just put down a little timeline. Nothing past 2011. We can't use her current age, which is somewhere in her 30s, whenever he asks how old she is. We're gonna need to say something along her 20s, like her early to mid 20s. That's when her career as Betty Curse was. Is she a fictional character? She's a persona, but yet a lot of YouTubers, whenever you try and guess who they are on the Akinator, it uses their handles and not necessarily their real names, though there are a couple of exceptions because people generally know their real names. I won't take it necessarily as a loss for the Akinator if he guesses Megan Burns, but what I'm really specifically trying to go for is Betty Curse, and I just kind of want to shepherd him into that. We're going to still say that she's a real person, but we're going to use her timeline as the cutoff. She's still alive. We're going to use the timeline as the cutoff. We want to say she's in her 20s. We want to say that she is a music artist. Talking about Betty Curse specifically, she is a music artist. She did appear on a television show in the BBC called The Slammer. It's a children's television show where different performance groups get on stage and perform for kids. And then the kids vote to see which one escapes the jail cell. And guess what? Spoiler alert, she won. So now that we know she's had one album, she's had 4 singles, 2 bonus tracks, maybe 3 bonus tracks, she's had her career from a certain timeline of 2006 to 2011, there's one more obscure fact that I really want to go into. it may never be brought up by the Akinator, but in her early 20s, while she was still performing as Betty Curse, she was diagnosed with Lyme disease. I remember because she posted about it on her MySpace back when MySpace was a thing. I'm a fan, you can probably tell. Now, I couldn't find any internet documents that confirm this, but I did find this tweet from her Twitter page where she references that she was indeed sick with Lyme disease and that she was given antibiotics and, well, from my memory of her MySpace posts, she was very much in misery. So let's get started. Let's test the Akinator's knowledge. Let's do it. All right, Akinator, let's go. Let's get moving. Alrighty. Select the next game thematic. We're gonna do characters. It's been a while since I played Akinator. All right. Is your character's gender female? Yes. Is your character real? Okay. We've addressed that she is a persona. She's the persona of a real person. Betty Curse is more like a stage name, but she's based on a real person. I wouldn't be upset if he guessed Megan Burns, but I really want him to specifically say Betty Curse. So, let's lean in with a probably, which might be a bit misleading, but he'll get over it. He's the Akinator. He has a very good win streak, just not against me. Does your character personally know you? No. Is your character a YouTuber? She is not. Is your character over 20 years old? Yes, but we need to make sure we keep within the timeline. So she's gonna be 20 to 25. So we're gonna stay in the 20s. Does your character sing on stage? She does indeed. Is your character from a kid's show? No, but she did appear on one. We're still gonna say no though, because being from a kid show means that she consistently was on the program. Is your character black? No. Does your character wear a leather jacket? No, not really. He more or less wears jackets and dresses. Is your character Asian? No. She's from Liverpool, and she is British. Is your character blonde? No, she's not. Does your character live in Vietnam? No. Did your character die? Well, she's retired, but she's not dead. She lives inside all of us. Does your character cross-dress? Not that I'm aware of. Does your character explore dead malls? Probably. Has your character appeared in a Star Kid Productions? No. Does your character have colorful hair? Colorful probably doesn't mean black. Does your character have any kids? Oh, timeout. Megan Burns, the person, has children, but during the time as Betty Curse, she didn't have kids. Is your character an actor? Megan Burns is the actor. The character is the character. I'm being really specific about this. I'm gonna say no, because we're talking about the persona, Betty Curse. She does not appear in movies as Betty Curse. She appears in movies as Megan Burns. I have to make that distinction. Does your character speak Spanish? Believe it or not, I don't know. Is your character known for being sad? Actually, not really. She smiles quite often. She doesn't really seem sad. Maybe a little bitter, and maybe a little dark, but never really sad. Is your character interested in fashion? Absolutely she is. Does your character dyed their hair red? No. Does your character have a boyfriend? I don't know, is that important? Is your character only famous under a nickname? Hey! The answer is no! I know, this is a stupid distinction to make, because I'm trying to separate them as two different people. My character is, in fact, oh, it's their persona. It's not a nickname, though. Betty Curse is not a nickname, it's a persona. But even still, people would know her as both Betty Curse, but if you search Betty Curse, you're more likely to find Megan Burns. So, we're gonna say no. We're not being intentionally misleading, we're just being very specific. Also, this is incorrect. Madison Beer, singer, YouTuber. So, we do know that YouTubers do have their first and last name on here. It's just not what I'm looking for. Let's continue, let's give him round 2. Is your character in an all-girl band? No, she has a male guitarist. Is your character American? No, she's from Liverpool. Is your character associated with Friv? I don't think so. Is your character cyborg? No, we've addressed that she's a real person. Does your character have British origins? Yes, she's from Liverpool. Is your character associated with diamonds? No, she'd probably be more likely associated with crosses. Is your character a game developer? Very interesting question, but the answer's still no. Does your character eat? Yes, she has to. Has your character made a career as a solo singer? If the band's named after you, does that count as being a solo career? I need to know. I'm gonna say probably yes. Has your character performed at the Billboard Music Awards? Let's find out. I'm gonna say no, or probably not. Does your character practice combat sport? Don't think so. Has your character ever entered a competition on TV? Technically, yes, because the Slammer is a competition, it's just the judges are children. So, I'm gonna say yes, she has. Does your character make rules? Don't you look so sly, Mr. Akinator. You're not getting away with this. No. Does your character have any friends? Yes, I'd say she has friends. Has your character been on the X Factor? No. Is your character a rap singer? Nice try, but no. Does your character fight pink blobs? We did address that she's not a fictional character, right? Oh, I probably said probably, didn't I? Oops. Yeah, no. Is your character verified on Spotify? I need to know. Is she? She's not on YouTube at all. If you look up Betty Curse's music on YouTube, you'll find that most of her music is reposted by generic users. Ooh. I'm gonna say probably, or don't know. I'm gonna say don't know, just for the sake of not wanting to accidentally mislead him. Is your character known for rage quitting? No. Does your character play for Northern State University? No. Does your character rap? Again, no. Is your character associated with boats? No, I'd have brought that up. Does your character walk on 2 legs? She most certainly does, Akinator. Has your character ever been to the Billboard Music Awards? I'm gonna say no, because she doesn't show up in any search results that I can verify. So I'm gonna say probably not. Does your character have a name that sounds foreign? No. No. Probably closer, but no. Oh, round 3. Oh, is your character more than 40 years old? Even if we talked about Megan Burns, the person, she's not older than 40. Does your character have a British accent? It's a little more than just British, but yes. Is your character a girly girl? I'm gonna lean towards probably yes rather than probably no. But nothing definitive. Is your character a ruler? I mean, she rules my heart, but no. Is your character slightly overweight? Yo, what a rude question, Akinator. Does your character have long curly hair? Like, are we talking tight curls or loose curls? Because her hair is a bit wavy at times. I'm gonna say no, though. Does your character tour internationally? I don't ever recall her being in America. I think she just stayed within Britain. So I'm gonna say no. Is your character a pop singer? Yes, kind of. Goth pop. Is your character a teenager? No, she's in her 20s. Does your character have an unusual name? I'd say yes, but I know if I say yes, Akinator is probably gonna go a whole mile. So we're still gonna say yes, because Curse is a very interesting last name. Does your character have 2 sons? We've already said this. No. Is your character active on Twitter? Yes, technically. Let's say yes, because her Twitter account did exist the year before she stopped being Betty Curse. Has your character been on a Jimmy Fallon show? No. Does your character have a long name? Not especially. Is your character a rapper? Akinator, stop. Is your character linked with the hippie movement? The goth version of hippies, maybe, but no. Does your character often do collaborations? I don't think so. Does your character have dark hair? Yes, she does. Is your character a Mormon? think she'd throw a fit at me if I ever said yes. No, she's most positively not. Is your character famous thanks to television? Honestly, I think she's more famous thanks to movies and then thanks to radio. So I'ma say don't know, because there's a lot of factors going on here. But I'm gonna say it's leaning more towards the probably not, but we're gonna just say don't know. Is your character from a reality show? No, she's not. Did your character release an album in 2018? No, she released her album in 2006. Does your character have a mole on his face? Well, first off, she's female, so Akinator, change that. Gotta use your generic pronouns, my dude. Does your character have more than 10 tattoos? Possibly. It's always possible she had a couple tattoos, but no, I don't think she has more than 10. Does your character have short hair? It's not especially long, but it's not especially short, so I'm gonna say no. Is your character Canadian? No. She's from Liverpool. Does your character have a tattoo on their knuckles? No. Does your character have authority on you? No. Does your character won a Grammy? Dude. She deserves it. Nothing shows up in Google search, so we're gonna say no, which is a shame. Has your character played in famous movies? Yes and no. As Megan Burns, she's famous for being in Liam and 28 Days Later, and most recently in 2018, a short film. But she's never appeared in those roles as Betty Curse, so I have to say no, even though it's technically true. Cher Lloyd from The X Factor, that show that we said that she was not a part of. You know. Come on. What's with that expression, Akinator? You've clearly, no. You're off your game, man. You're off your game. Who are you thinking about? Betty Curse. Obviously, I do not know your character. To validate the addition of this character, thank you for checking the name. The description should specify the context to avoid confusion with a namesake. Bravo, you have defeated me. Well, that's okay, Akinator. We all knew this was coming. Sooner or later, I just come back to kick your butt once more. Well, I hope you enjoyed my battle against the Akinator and my, of course, successful victory. But I also hope that you enjoyed learning a little thing or two about Betty Curse, an identity of Megan Burns from the 2000s era. And honestly, you should just go check her out right now. She's promoting bands and stuff, and she's kind of a cool person, so do that. The world needs to know about her. She's so good. Also, check out some of her music. It's on Spotify, it's on YouTube. She's really pretty. But hopefully you've learned a thing or two about her, you've learned a thing or two about me, and some of the things that I'm interested in, and I hope to see you next time. So until then, stay tuned.